Hey all you super players out there, Ben Lotus aka 5 Buck Lunch, and today we're coming at you with a deck list for the Set 10 format. I figured since we're about to go into the Shop Championships this upcoming weekend, depending on where you are locally, they're all over the place this month. But the format is Set 10 only cards, which means it's only Set 10, the new cards in the structure deck, so not the reprints, and the tournament pack cards for this set as well. So I kind of want to go in and we're going to look at Ginyu, which I think is the best deck in that format. And I'm going to give you a budget list for if you just want something to play with that might have a decent chance of doing okay, and a fully decked out list with things like secret rares and tournament pack promos that not everyone will have access to, or even want to get for, a deck they might just play like once or twice, since after the Shop Championships are over, you won't really be playing Set 10 format anymore. But if you just need a Set 10 format deck to play, this Ginyu deck I have in front of me costs around $10 for every card in the deck. And if you already have your Frieza Xeno Darkness Overflowings from the structure deck, I think it's like $3. That's the whole price is in there. And it's actually a pretty decent deck too. You'll definitely win a couple games and have a shot at, getting some extra prizing without having to commit to making a whole Set 10 deck just for the format. So for those of you that don't know, the new Ginyu leader is basically whenever he attacks, you look at the top card of your deck. If it's a 2-cost Ginyu Force member, you get to play it and then draw another card. Otherwise, you just keep the card that you drew. And then he can awaken if you have all 4 Ginyu Force members, or if you are at 4 or less. And then on the backside, he does the same thing, but you can pay a green to give one of your Ginyu Force cards, Ginyu Force battle cards, an extra 10k for the battle. So a pretty simple leader. And I'm just going to kind of go over what my choices were here. Keep in mind, we're pretty restricted in what cards we can play, so some things might seem surprising in here, but everything kind of has a purpose given the format that we're in. I'm playing Frieza Xeno Darkness Overflowing as my Unison, and the reason that we're playing this and not the other Frieza from the actual set is not just because it's cheaper, which this is the cheaper version, but it's nice because he helps you self-awaken, because you can crit a life instead of having him actually die, and that helps a lot in a lot of ways. Also, there isn't a lot of removal in this format, and his -1 can either take a counter off a Unison, or it can kill something 4 or less, which is just very relevant. And the only reason you would really need to play the other Frieza is if you wanted to stack the top card of your deck, which, mind you, is good in this deck because you can stack Ginyu Force members to the top for Ginyu. But in playing the deck, like in practice, you don't really need that very often. And the utility you get from this Frieza just kind of outweighs the bonus of being able to stack the top card of your deck. We have so many other ways to do that it's not really needed most of the time. We have Ford Dory the Cold-Blooded. Simply, when it attacks, gains 10k in double strike by taking a life. Pretty good all around, since it's going to be a go wide rush deck, and you don't have a lot of double strike, so he's very useful in that aspect. Ford Dory, Brimming with Power. So this card is going to be much, much better in this format, where you're going to see a lot of Ginyu decks. If your leader card is mono green, if you have a green Unison in play, if the battle card being played has an energy cost of 2 or less, it is placed in its owner's drop area instead of being played, then play this card. So basically, if our opponent's going to try and play, a Raccoon to put in play something else, or if they're going to try and use, like, one of the 1-drop negates that they have, there's a lot of cards that this card can hit in this format, and it only costs 1 energy. Plus, it's another reason that we play the Frieza Xeno, so we can keep that Unison up so our Dodorias actually work. For Super Combo, playing Vegeta the Lone Prince. It's one of the best super combos in the game right now. Pretty simple. When you play it, your opponent discards a card from their hand, and if you're 4 or less, when you combo with it, draws a card. So it has a potential to be a +2. One important thing with this card is that also works with our Son Goku Power of Legend, where if our leader card is green and we make our opponent discard a card, we can play him for free from our hand, and he is critical, 15k. And then when we can warp him to warp one of our opponent's battle cards 4 or less. So it's just a very powerful card, and a lot of times you're going to want to save your Vegeta 1-drop play rather than just playing him on turn 1 for when you have a Power of Legend in your hand. Next, I'm going to talk about all the Ginyu Force members. So we have Birder, Goldo, Jason, Raccoon. They all do very similar things in that they're unique, and they're a 2-drop Ginyu Force, so they can be played off the top. The Birder has blocker, and then at the end of your turn, you switch him to active mode, look at the top 3, and rearrange them however you want, or put them all to the bottom. Guldo, you can discard from your hand to the grave to look at the top 3 and rearrange them however you want. And then active main, if he's on the field, you can look at the top 5 and rearrange them however you want. This is probably one of the most key cards to have in your opening turn because it guarantees your first Ginyu hit, which is going to be really good in terms of like how fast your deck comes out. So if you have Guldo, you can mulligan very passively, like don't do much in terms of mulligan. But if you don't have Guldo, you're going to want to mulligan more cards. Possibly your whole hand, maybe keep like a Frieza Xeno or something like that. Jay's second in command, when he attacks, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, add a Ginyu Force from those to your hand, and then put the remaining cards on top or bottom of your deck. So Jace is very good because it's a +1 when it attacks, essentially. And then Raccoon, when it comes into play, puts a different Ginyu Force member in play. Now, one thing to note about all these Ginyu Force members is they're unique, so you can't have more than one at a time, which is why we're playing Ginyu, Frieza's greatest soldier. This is actually from the structure deck, and it's kind of made to play with the other version of Frieza, but it actually works in this since we don't have a lot of options in terms of cards to play. Because it's a 2-drop Ginyu Force member that doesn't have unique, we can keep getting them off Ginyus or putting them in play off Raccoons, and then simply when you play it, it gives your leader card or a green unison card plus 10k power for the turn. So it just is another attacker, it boosts an attacker. The second effect we can't use because we're not using a Frieza leader. We're playing Dark Death Ball. If you have a green unison in play, if the battle card being played is energy cost 4 or less, put in its owner's dropper instead of being played. Then choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 1 and KO it. This is going to be very nice against Mechagaburo, which is going to be another big deck that's going to see a lot of play in this format, because when they play their 4-drop Mechagaburo, you can simply Dark Death Ball it, and it's gone. Now we are down to Zarbon Victory over Beauty. This is a kind of card that kind of edged in just because this is a discount version, but it's still pretty useful. It's a 3-cost counterattack. Negate and play this card. When this card is played during your opponent's turn, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, KO it, then choose one card for your opponent's hand, and discard it. So basically, when your opponent attacks, you can negate the attack, KO a battle card without restrictions, which is very good for this format. And then your opponent chooses a card from then, discards it, which is another way to play Power of Legend. So it gives you an alternate way to play that card, as well as being a card that just KOs cards. 3 energy is a lot, but in this format, it could still be useful for doing things like killing Secret Rares, which you don't really have another way to do in this deck. Ginyu the Body Snatcher and Ginyu the Backbone of the Force go together. So Ginyu Backbone of the Force is 4 cost, but active main, if you have one of each Ginyu Force member in play, you can play it for free. And then when he's played, you choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, gain control of it, and then give control of him to your opponent. So we can use this to steal our opponent's battle cards, and then we can use Ginyu the Body Snatcher, who is a 4-drop double strike. He gets minus 10k power during your opponent's turn. Choose one battle card, gain control from your opponent with one of your skills, and place it in the drop area. Play this card from your hand for free. If your leader card is a green Ginyu Force card, when this card is played, all green Ginyu Force gain 10k for the turn. So the play is you get all of your Ginyu Force members out, you drop Backbone to steal their battle card, attack with their battle card, then sack their battle card for Body Snatcher to boost all your other Ginyu Force members, and swing in for game. Now that's pretty optimal and won't happen super often, so we're only playing a few copies of these. Also keep in mind, since you're going to be stacking the top cards of your deck so much, playing less copies isn't really a negative because when we need them, we can look for them. I already talked about Power of Legend, but it's just a really good card in general. And then the last card we're playing is 1 copy of Secret Identity Mass Saiyan. When he's just an Overwhelm 6, when you overwhelm him, choose battle cards, add up to 6 or less, send him through those warps. It's just another way to remove cards and another way to drop a big battle card on our turn for free. So yeah, this is the budget version of the deck. It should function very well. It's not really missing a whole lot. There's a bunch of things you can do to optimize it, which I'm going to go over in a sec, but if you just need a deck to play that's set 10 format legal for your local shop championship, this is a good deck to go with because you don't really have to do anything. You can probably find most of these cards in like a bulk box in the store. So next we're going to go over the optimized version of Ginyu, which I think is around $300, something like that. It includes things like Secret Rares, Swift Massacre Freezes. I'm just going to go over kind of the differences since the deck functionally is the exact same deck. It just has some things taken out, some things put in. Notably, 4 Dormant Potential unleashed. So we don't have any actual negates in this format, but Dormant Potential Unleashed is about the closest we can get. Since it stops our opponent from going wide, it's going to be very good in the mirror, and it KOs a 2 or less, which is also going to be very good in the mirror. 2 Swift Massacre Freezes, which is the promo we get from the tournament pack. And it's simply a 4-drop deflect that if you have 5 green battle cards in your drop area, it becomes a 3-drop. It choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and KO it. So for 3, you put it in play, KO something ignoring barrier, and it has deflect, so there's nothing your opponent can do about that. It's just going to be very useful as a utility tool to get rid of any problems you come across. 4 Frieza Charismatic Villain. This is the green counterplay that comes in play if we have a Unison in play. This is going to be even more important to play our Frieza Xeno, because if we played the other Frieza, it'd be very easy for our opponent to get it to less than 2 counters, and then we can't use Charismatic Villain. But it simply comes in play and KOs a card. Very simple. For Secret Rare, I put Grade 8 Mass Saiyan Primal Carnage in. You could also play the black one as well, since we're in mono green. I prefer this one in this format simply because I think the finisher is about as strong, and the ability to use it early, especially in a rush deck, to remove a problem card that our opponent has, like a 9-drop Mecha-Yoruba or something like that. I think this is just more useful. 3 Mecha-Yoruba, the Broken Seal. This is going to be very important for countering our opponent's strategies. Since there's only a few decks to play, it's going to be easy to figure out what we want to stop with Mecha-Yoruba. So we're going to play that as a 2-drop. Other than that, I think everything else in here was described in the other deck. It's just in different numbers. For example, we're only playing 2 Dodoria. I believe I dropped the negate, 3-cost negate that kills things, because we put in other ways to kill things. But yeah, pretty simple. The deck plays pretty easy. It's pretty pick up and play, whether you're playing the expensive version or the cheap version. And you're gonna get a definite benefit in terms of consistency and removal tools, as well as Dormant Potential Unleashed is the biggest thing. If you're gonna go halfway on something, getting your Dormant Potential Unleashed is gonna be the biggest thing, so that you can defend yourself. But yeah, what do you guys think? You think this is good for set 10? Are you interested in the set 10 format or not? It seems kind of an okay format to me. It's really weird because there aren't any gates or anything like that. But yeah, so go out there. Good luck at your shop championships. For those of you playing in Gen Con this weekend, good luck on that. I will be playing in the 8 o'clock webcam one. And I'm probably going to be streaming that, I think, because I don't really super care about winning it that much. I mean, you only get a couple tournament packs. I'd like to win, but I'm not super worried about stream sniping. You probably won't be able to see my hand, I guess. But yeah, so tune in at 8 o'clock on Sunday if you want to check that out. I'll be streaming that tournament. So yeah, go out there, play some Super, and have some fun.